Welcome to What If Season 2, Episode 5. Welcome to... Why can't I say this? Welcome to What If Season 2, Episode 5. What if Captain Carter fought the Hydra Stomper?
What if? Break it down for me.
This might be one of my favorite episodes. There is a little thing in here where I was like, yay, that seems like it's kind of dumb. We'll get to that at the end. But for the most part, I really enjoyed this episode. I don't think it beats episode 2 for me, but it's close. It's close. I'd say it's just below episode 2. So right now it's going episode 2, episode 5, episode 1, episode 4, and then episode 3. Maybe, well, it's hard between episode 4 and 3. It could be either one of those. Episode 4 might be my least favorite, but all of them have been really good, to be honest with you. But this is definitely one of my top picks, I would say, so far for the season. Why do I love it? Well, I love Captain Carter. Getting Haley Atwell back, always a treat. I just feel like she's so amazing as Peggy, and I feel like the fact that Agent Carter only had a couple seasons is just such a travesty. It still disappoints me, but I'm really happy we get to see her as Captain Carter in What If, and I feel like she is honestly so amazing in this show. And to get to hear her, and I mean seeing her as well in Multiverse of Madness, get to play sort of the hero character, you know, a super-powered character who's basically like Captain America, but as Peggy, is really awesome, and I just feel like she brings a lot of heart to the role. She's just such a talented actress, honestly. I love her in everything. I haven't seen her in anything yet that I haven't loved her in, so if you have ideas for what I might not like her in, let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll watch that, maybe I won't like it, but I doubt it. I doubt it, because that's how much I love Haley Atwell. I just think she's so great. I also just think this is a really cool, like, alternate reality, alternate universe story, because there's so many things that are different at this point, and I really do hope that we get to continue in Captain Carter's journey, which, based on where this episode ends, I definitely think that will happen. But I feel like, yeah, it's just gotten to the point where her whole story has become its own world with its own, like, paths. It's cool to see the idea of, like, the Winter Soldier story, but where Steve is basically, like, the Winter Soldier, where Bucky is this guy that actually got older instead of Peggy, and where Peggy is basically Steve's role of Captain America as Captain Carter. Just seeing all the different dynamics and what that does to kind of the world and how it changes things, but how things are still kind of the same. That is what I love. I mean, this is basically what I said about the last episode, where, you know, my favorite part of episode 4 was seeing Tony in similar situations to Thor and seeing where it differed. It's the same idea here. So we're in a Winter Soldier story, which we already kind of know what happens in this story. We've seen it in the MCU. We've read it in the comics, but where there's different elements, and the idea that, you know, Peggy, in her world, Captain Carter is basically in love with the Winter Soldier, the Hydra Stomper. So that idea that, like, you also have this romance dynamic between these two characters now, I don't know, it just does something different. It makes the dynamic, I think, a lot different. Not that Steve doesn't love Bucky, but Steve doesn't love Bucky like that. At least not in the canon version. Maybe in some fanfics, though. I'm sure there's lots of fanfics out there. I'm sure if you looked, I'm sure you'd find it. I have no doubt. So to see that different dynamic, I don't know. This was also just really exciting. And I mean, I think the other thing that I love about What If is you can really play with anyone could be in danger, anyone could go at any time, because this isn't the main continuity. So it's not like we need these characters to technically progress. Their stories could end at any moment. And the fact that we had a scene where I didn't know what was going to happen, and I actually thought that a character was going to bite it. The scene between Bucky and Steve, where Bucky is basically trying to get Steve to stand down by talking to him, when it seems like Steve has come to threaten his life, which we of course later find out is a ruse to get to Captain Carter. But I really thought that Bucky was done. Like, just watching Steve aim at him and just his glowing red eyes, like, through the suit. Oh. So my issue with this episode, let's talk about that briefly. So although I love all of the relationships, I love a lot of the heart in this, I love the suspense, the action, and like I said, just the characters and sort of this alternative world and the things that are different. My biggest issue was that Captain Carter was foolish enough to just trust that Steve was seemingly okay and that he was going to take her and Nat to the Red Room, and the fact that she didn't want to consult, you know, Iron Man about this, or Bruce Banner to get insight on how to undo the brainwashing on Steve. Like, she's just like, no, we're just gonna go to the Red Room. We don't have time for these mad scientists. I just wish it was more like coming from a place of not necessarily we don't have time, but more like maybe she doesn't trust them. Because I understand what she's saying, where like everyone is going to want the Hydra Stomper right now, and so it's just we don't have time to dilly-dally. But at the same time, I don't know, if those are your friends and they're both geniuses, you could probably explain the time crunch to them, no? And they would help you? I don't know. It just seemed like a little lazy, like a little convenient. We don't have time for that. And then it's like, let's just go to the Red Room. And then Steve is like, yeah, I can just take you to the Red Room. He's just all of a sudden I feel good. Yeah, I was brainwashed and I was a killer for years, but like, I just feel a lot better. You really made me feel great. Let's just go. Let's head off to the Red Room. I can take you there. I remember where it is. Don't worry though, I'm not brainwashed still. Like, insert that meme of the girl with the flaming house behind her. That's literally how I felt about that. I was like, this seems kind of like you're about to walk into a trap. And then of course, what did they do? They walked into a trap. And especially, I mean, Captain Carter, sure. Captain Carter obviously loves Steve, and so maybe she's a little bit blinded by love here and she isn't thinking strategically. But we have seen it proven before that she is very smart and very strategic. That's already been established in this alternate world, in this canon. So it's kind of being contradicted, but I'll just say, you know, love made her kind of act a little dumb. But for Nat, I really don't understand, because you would really think the Black Widow would know. Yeah, that sounds like a major trap to me. But I guess maybe Nat was thinking, maybe Nat was also blinded by the love. It's not her love, but she was just like, I just want love to find a way. I'm not really buying that as much, and so that part felt very kind of cobbled together. Like, I know they need to get there for a reason, to have the final showdown and the confrontation and all of that stuff. And seeing that the Red Room comes down in this way, in this world, was really cool. So I did like all of that. I just wish we had a way to get there that didn't feel so, like, I guess, unbelievable to me. Because I just wasn't really... It seemed like a silly idea to go into that trap, to walk right into that trap, which is exactly what they did. Especially when you go to the town and you see all these, like, statues, like, these animatronic, like, 1950s figures standing around, life-size figures. Like they said, it's like being in a horror movie. And if you feel like you're in a horror movie, guess what? You maybe are. Maybe you should not be there. Maybe you should get out of there. So that was a part I didn't like. But yeah, I did enjoy this episode. I really enjoyed just the story beats and a lot of the scenes. And this is an episode too that felt very fast in terms of everything that was happening. Like, it was a lot of story to fit into a small amount of time. So when people are having conversations, it is an episode that I will say, I don't think put it on and then do anything else. Like, you really need to put this on and focus, because a lot of talking really fast, because they have to get to the next thing, but they don't want to cut any of those scenes because they have, like, a purpose, not just narratively, but I think also for character development, which I appreciated. But it does make it feel a little rushed if you're not in it, because then it's just you're going bing, bang, boom all over the place. That's pretty much my thoughts on it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you love Captain Carter as much as I do. Let me know where it stands for you in terms of the episode so far. Did you love it? Was it the bottom for you? Have you disliked any episodes? Are there any episodes that are just blowing your mind? Let me know. I'll see you in the next one, and until then, friends, stay nerdy. Bye!